Every network dodged, denied, delayed until this one question slipped past the script. An NBC anchor asked it live, and the answer wrecked the narrative. Y'all watch this.
I do have to ask, and I know, and it's just something that I think we're compelled to at this moment, with the attention on President Trump, with these questions around a pardon. Did anybody see or hear of the president himself doing anything inappropriate as it related to Jeffrey Epstein?
No.
I do have to ask.
Wow. That wasn't a fringe blog. That was NBC. Survivors were pressed on Trump and Epstein. No cutaways, no editing tricks. Just one word. No. That's what I mean by accidental truth. They wanted smoke, they got silence. The kind of silence that exposes how much noise was manufactured. And when silence ruins the storyline, watch what politicians rush to fill it with.
Mr. President, right now, there have been survivors of Jeffrey Epstein speaking at a press conference on Capitol Hill. They're calling for these case files, these documents to be released. And Thomas Massey, who was sponsoring a discharge position to get the House to vote on releasing those documents, says he doesn't believe you're implicated in these files, but many of your friends and donors may be, and he says that's why the Justice Department is redacting them and slow walking the release. Is the Justice Department protecting any friends or donors, sir?
So this is a Democrat hoax that never ends. You know, it reminds me a little of the Kennedy situation. We gave him everything over and over again, more and more and more, and nobody's ever satisfied. From what I understand, I could check, but from what I understand, thousands of pages of documents have been given. But it's really a Democrat hoax because they're trying to get people to talk about something that's totally irrelevant to the success that we've had as a nation since I've been president. Even if you look at D.C. right now, D.C., it's a totally safe zone. It's called a safe zone. That's a term. It's a term of art. It's a safe zone because it's very safe. You can walk down the street now and nothing's going to happen. No crime, no murders, no nothing. Because we had a lot of problems with certain places, and we still do. All run by Democrats, or for the most part run by Democrats. So what they're trying to do with the Epstein hoax is get people to talk about that instead of speaking about the tremendous success like ending 7 wars. I ended 7 wars. Nobody's going to talk about because they're going to talk about the Epstein whatever. I understand that we were subpoenaed to give files, and I understand we've given thousands of pages of files. And I know that no matter what you do, it's going to keep going. And I think it's enough because I think we should talk about the greatness of our country and the success that we're having. I think we're probably having, according to what I read, even from 2 people in this room, we're having the most successful 8 months of any president ever. And that's what I want to talk about. That's what we should be talking about, not the Epstein hoax.
When should I make a decision on Ukraine, Mr. President?
Now, as somebody who has a great deal of respect for Trump and his accomplishments, he laid out a lot of truth in there. But I will not deny that I'm not completely impressed with his approach to this. Trump calls it a Democrat hoax. And there's definitely a lot of truth to that in terms of the manipulation. But here's the play. The louder you call it fake, the more real survivors look standing at microphones. That's tension. And the truth is always found in tension, not slogans. Now, tension breaks when families step in.
She fought for every survivor who was silenced, doubted, or discarded. And she never backed down, even when the world tried to break her. Today we rally not only in her memory, but in solidarity with every survivor. We are here to say, we see you, we believe you, and we will not stop until justice is served. Because justice is not selective. It does not and must not bend to money, influence, or titles. We are here because every survivor deserves more than a headline. They deserve more than a single conviction. They deserve the full weight of the law behind them. Our demands are clear. Elaine Maxwell must remain in a maximum security prison for the rest of her life. No leniency, no deals, no special treatment. The Epstein documents must be unsealed. Every name, every detail, no more secrets, no more protection for those who preyed on the vulnerable. And finally, we demand full accountability from every enabler, every accomplice, every person in power who turned a blind eye. The justice system was not designed to serve the powerful. It was meant to protect the people. And it's time it started doing just that.
Now, this wasn't a lobbyist, not a congressman. I don't even know how you say the last name, so forgive me. I know the first name is Virginia. This is Virginia Jeffries. I'm gonna just call it that, brother. I apologize for not having a name correct. He stripped the politics down to the bone. Maxwell never walks free. Unsealed every name, hold every enabler. Now that's raw. Let's look at the response in the comment section. You know what would be more powerful? Saying their names. Why won't anyone do it? Why the big press conferences, but no mention of who is involved? The most powerful thing would be to have them make a list. Well, the most powerful thing would be to have them make a list, would have to be provable, of course, and all of them sign it. Uber powerful. Making it about Maxwell is a cop-out. But when real survivors demand names, lawmakers, they get cornered.
Colleague Ro Khanna for co-leading this effort to bring transparency and justice for these victims. I hope my colleagues are watching this press conference. I want them to think, what if this was your sister? What if this was your daughter? When these survivors speak, the Washington establishment is asking the American public to believe something that is not believable. They're asking you to believe that two individuals created hundreds of victims and they acted alone, and that the DOJ has no idea of who else might have been involved, that nobody else did anything that rose to a criminal enterprise. The American people know that's not true. Now, the Speaker of the House just offered a fig leaf to my colleagues. They're going to vote on a non-binding resolution today that does absolutely nothing. I appreciate the efforts of my colleague James Comer, who's leading the Oversight Committee. They may find some information, but they're allowing the DOJ to curate all of the information that the DOJ is giving them. If you've looked at the pages they've released so far, they're heavily redacted. Some pages are entirely redacted. And 97% of this is already in the public domain. So I'm calling on my colleagues. Be one of the next two who sponsors this discharge petition. I think it's shameful that this has been called a hoax. Hopefully today.
Yeah, I don't like the way the syncing is on the audio either, but this is what we got.
We can clear that up. This is not a hoax. This is real. There are real survivors. There are real victims to this criminal enterprise. And the perpetrators are being protected because they're rich and powerful and political donors to the establishment here in Washington, D.C. So today we're standing with these survivors and we're giving them a voice, and I want to close by thanking them. They are brave. I hope they encourage other survivors to come forward and to tell their stories, not just of Jeffrey Epstein and Maxwell, but anywhere in the country. This is a message that we are sending. This is a litmus test. Can we drain the swamp? Are there people who are outside of the reach of the law? I don't think there should be. So hopefully today we'll get 2 more signatures on the discharge petition. That's all we need. And with that, I want to introduce the bravest woman in Congress, Marjorie Taylor Greene.
I mean, actually, he didn't sugarcoat it. You really think 2 people made hundreds of victims alone? That's not conspiracy. That's arithmetic. And arithmetic don't lie. The DOJ wants us to swallow redactions like vitamins, you know? Good for you. Don't ask questions. Actually, just rip the label off the bottle, though. And when the math don't add up, theories start multiplying.
The biggest thing that stands out to me is the victims themselves have stated that this is a lot bigger than I think anyone anticipated. We are obviously going to be requesting the SARS reports from Treasury, and also following up on that. There are some very rich and powerful people that need to go to jail. I think everyone's been frustrated as to why that hasn't happened before. But it is very much so a possibility that Jeffrey Epstein was an intelligence asset working for our adversaries. But also, too, I think the questions that we have is how much did our own government know about it? And so there's more to follow, and I'm sure you'll be hearing from the chairman momentarily. But I do applaud the victims from coming forward, because we heard from a woman who was as young as 14 years old when she was victimized multiple times by Jeffrey Epstein. So that's hard to hear.
Would you sign the discharge petition and ask the discharge petition?
I think that the files will probably be released prior. I don't know why Comer hasn't. I think that he should do it, so it wouldn't even have to come to a vote. But, I mean, obviously I've been a huge advocate, even when I was the only one in Congress calling for the release of those files. So I think I'd be happy to, yes. Thank you.
What do they call for?
So,
do they want those files released?
The victims want information to be out there, but they don't want their personal information, I think, for good reason to be out there. So I think from the get-go, even the Attorney General stated that there's victim information that you have to make sure that's private, being that some of the victims also, too, are as young as 14. It's child pornography. No, thank you, guys. Guys, let her through.
Representative Luna raised the stakes. This is bigger than we thought, she says, right? Epstein could have been an intelligence asset. I don't denounce that theory at all. Now, maybe you think that's wild, but step back. Why else has every agency fought harder to bury this than to prosecute it? Silence isn't safety. It's definitely a cover. And when it gets way too big for just one party, watch who reframes the fight, y'all.
Anyone that is being abused, it is not your fault. You should live with no guilt or fear or shame. All of the fault belongs to the evil people that do these things to the innocent. This is the most important fight we can wage here in Congress, is fighting for innocent people that never receive justice. And the women behind me have never received justice. And do you want to know why? It's because Jeffrey Epstein somehow was able to walk among the most rich, powerful people, not only in America, but foreign countries. Yesterday, I heard countries like Saudi Arabia, Russia, and even Israel, and other countries. The truth needs to come out, and the government holds the truth. The cases that are sealed hold the truth. Jeffrey Epstein's estate holds the truth. The FBI, the DOJ, and the CIA holds the truth. And the truth we are demanding come out on behalf of these women, but also as a strong message to every innocent child, teenager, woman, and man that is being held captive in abuse. This should never happen in America, and it should never be a political issue that divides us.
Major Reed Taylor Greene said the quiet part, not left versus right. Protect the innocent. That's the crack in the DC armor. Because once it's about children, teens, and survivors, party jerseys look pathetic. And DC hates when jerseys stop mattering. I'm trying to see these comments, though. One reporter asked the one reporter asked only about Trump calling it a hoax. DJT was referring to a supposed list of names of clients, which is a hoax, not to the abuse portrayed. J.E. portrayed. Dems will use this to smear Donald Trump. That is the only purpose of this, period. Okay, so there's some added context. But the establishment has a fallback. Pretend the evidence doesn't exist.
It is an emergency. Therefore, Trump has the authority to deploy the National Guard. What's your solution if you're going to tell people there is crime and you will do nothing about it? That's why the only play Democrats have is to say there's no crime, Trump's lying, which we all know is true. And so they're going to lose on that one. That's why the Epstein thing is a big, juicy ham for the Democrats, something to sink their teeth into, because even Trump supporters want the information released. But where is it? They say many of the files appeared in public court filings, including, for example, a 2021 motion from Epstein's co-conspirator Ghislaine Maxwell to dismiss the superseding indictments against her in federal court. Among materials unveiled Tuesday evening, however, are some video clips, including one that appears to feature a young woman recounting her experience as one of Epstein's masseuses. Her image and the image of the interviewer are blurred. These files were originally handed over to lawmakers last month, but Republicans and Democrats on the House Oversight Committee took more than a week to privately review them. The committee's GOP majority said it was coordinating with the Justice Department to redact information that could compromise the victims or ongoing criminal matters. It's expected that the DOJ will continue to turn over information. Democrats claim that the only new information in the materials are the flight logs from CBP. The files show Epstein's travels to destinations such as Paris, New York, St. Thomas, U.S. Virgin Islands. To the American people, don't let this fool you, said Robert Garcia, the top Democrat on the Oversight Committee. House Republicans are trying to make a spectacle of releasing already public documents. Pam Bondi said the client list was on her desk. She could release it right now if she wanted to. I actually think Pam Bondi was lying about having the Epstein list. And then when she realized she didn't have it, panicked and released junk. Because the truth is, it's all gone. It's been destroyed a long time ago. They go on to then just give us some context about Epstein, which we already know. They claim he killed himself. Yeah, nobody believes that.
Yeah, destroyed, y'all. Gone. That's the word. But let's be clear. Bureaucracies never throw away leverage. If something vanished, it didn't disappear. It got filed deeper. Destroy files is the oldest excuse in a swamp's playbook, y'all. Meanwhile, survivors stand outside with names burned into memory. Who do you believe? Folders or faces? And speaking of names, the survivors just gave D.C. a deadline.
Transparency is justice. Release the files. End the secrecy and stand with us in declaring that no one, no billionaires, no politicians, not world leaders, is above the law. And let me announce now, several of us Epstein survivors have been discussing creating our own list of names. We know the names. Many of us were abused by them. Now together as survivors, we will confidentially compile the names we all know were regularly in the Epstein world. And it will be done by survivors and for survivors. No one else is involved. Stay tuned for more details on that. Because history is watching, and so are the women who will come after us. Thank you.
So this is it. Survivors looked at the cameras and said, hey, we'll release the list ourselves. We as Trump supporters, we still want the list. You know? But let's be real. Democrats have turned the Epstein files into a shield for their donors and a weapon against their enemies, right? It's not justice, that's theater. And yeah, Trump called it a hoax. I didn't love that wording. Because the pain is definitely real. And then you also got to remember some of these clips are being presented out of context. But here's the difference. He isn't the one hiding the names. He isn't the one slow walking the files. That's the swamp. That's the Democrat playbook. Survivors are standing up, and if Trump wants to lead, he's got to stand with him. Because the truth doesn't need redactions, it needs receipts. Y'all be safe. Please go check on a friend today. You can quite literally be saving their life. Peace.